Hey everyone, Lorenzo here. Back in the day, I was convinced the letter F on my report card stood for fantastic. Turns out my parents and teachers didn't quite share the same definition. Let's just say I learned the hard way that acing school took a bit more than my incredible charm. But hey, who needs straight A's when you can build a giant marshmallow catapult? Am I right? Just kidding. Grades do matter. And I'm here to share some seriously effective study tips that will help you rock those exams and actually understand the material. We're talking about going from procrastination nation to graduation celebration. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to break down some simple yet powerful strategies that will transform you into a lean, mean grade scoring machine. It's like upgrading your brain from dial-up to fiber optic internet. Get ready for some serious learning speed. All right, first things first, we need to talk about taming the beast that is your study schedule. Trust me, I get it. Planning can feel about as appealing as eating broccoli for breakfast. But here's the thing, a well-structured study schedule is your secret weapon against the last-minute cram session panic attacks. Think of it like building a rocket. You wouldn't just slap some engines on a metal tube and hope for the best, right? You need a plan, a blueprint, a step-by-step guide to launch that bad boy into orbit. Your study schedule is that blueprint. It keeps you on track, ensures you cover all the material, and most importantly, prevents you from becoming best friends with coffee at 3 a.m. the night before a big test. So how do you build this magical study schedule? Start by figuring out how much time you can realistically commit to studying each day. Don't go overboard and block out 8 hours straight. Remember, even astronauts need to eat and sleep. Next, break down your subjects into manageable chunks. Instead of trying to tackle all of calculus in one sitting, focus on specific concepts each day. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Now here's the key. Treat those study blocks like they're carved in stone. Put them in your calendar, set reminders on your phone. Tell your pet goldfish whatever it takes to make it non-negotiable. And don't forget to build in some wiggle room. Life happens, unexpected things come up, and that's okay. Having some flexibility built into your schedule will prevent you from feeling overwhelmed when those curveballs inevitably come your way. Remember, consistency is the name of the game here. Sticking to a regular study schedule, even if it's just for 30 minutes a day, will make a world of difference in the long run. You got this. Let's be real. Passively staring at your textbook and hoping the information magically seeps into your brain is about as effective as trying to inflate a tire with a hole in it. It's time to ditch the dullness and embrace the power of active learning. Active learning is like transforming your study session from a boring lecture into an interactive game show. It's about engaging with the material, getting those brain synapses firing, and actually remembering what you learn. One of my favorite active learning techniques is called summarization. It's simple but crazy effective. After you read a section or chapter, take a few minutes to summarize the key points in your own words. Imagine you're explaining it to a friend who knows nothing about the subject. Clear, concise, and hopefully somewhat entertaining. Speaking of friends, why not actually teach the material to someone else? Find a study buddy, a willing family member, or even your pet hamster. They're great listeners, I hear. Teaching forces you to really understand the information and identify any gaps in your knowledge. Plus, it's way more fun than mumbling to yourself in the library. Another secret weapon in the active learning arsenal is the mighty flashcard. Don't underestimate the power of these little rectangles of knowledge. Write a question or key term on one side and the answer or definition on the other. Then quiz yourself regularly. Flashcards are great for memorizing facts, formulas, and vocabulary words. Remember, the key to active learning is to find what works best for you. Experiment with different techniques, mix things up, and don't be afraid to get creative. The more you engage with the material, the better you'll understand and remember it. Chapter 3, Mnemonics, turning your brain into a steel trap for information. Ever wished your brain had a save button like a video game so you could just download information directly into your memory banks? Well, while we haven't quite cracked the code on brain-computer interfaces yet, at least not that I can talk about publicly, there's a technique that comes pretty darn close. Mnemonics. Mnemonics are like memory hacks, clever tricks that help you remember information by associating it with something more memorable. Think of them as mental shortcuts, like turning a complicated equation into a catchy jingle. One classic mnemonic device is the acronym. You take the first letter of each word in a list and create a new word or phrase that's easier to remember. For example, remember trying to memorize the order of the planets in our solar system. My very educated mother just served us nachos. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. See, easy peasy. Another popular technique is the acrostic, where you create a sentence using the first letter of each word you need to remember. Let's say you need to memorize the 5 Great Lakes of North America: Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. Just remember the sentence homes. Each letter represents the first letter of a lake. But mnemonics aren't just limited to lists and facts. You can also use them to remember concepts and processes. For example, if you're trying to remember the steps in a scientific method, you can create a story or a visual image that represents each step. The key to using mnemonics effectively is to make them personal and meaningful to you. The more outrageous, silly, or even bizarre your mnemonics are, the more likely you are to remember them. Chapter 4. Avoid burnout. The importance of breaks and stress management. All right, let's face it, studying can sometimes feel like running a mental marathon. And just like any marathon runner will tell you, you can't just sprint full speed the entire time without risking a serious case of burnout. Taking breaks and managing stress aren't luxuries, my friend. They're essential ingredients in the recipe for academic success. When you push your brain too hard for too long, it's like trying to run a car on fumes. Eventually, you're going to sputter to a stop. So how do you avoid becoming a study-induced stress ball? First, build regular breaks into your study schedule. Aim for a 5 to 10 minute break every hour or so. Step away from the books, move your body, and give your brain a chance to recharge. During those breaks, resist the urge to scroll through social media or get sucked into the black hole of YouTube. Instead, opt for activities that actually help you relax and de-stress. Go for a walk outside, listen to some music, do some stretching, or meditate. Speaking of meditation, it's a superpower when it comes to stress management. Even just a few minutes of deep breathing exercises can work wonders in calming your mind and reducing anxiety. There are tons of free meditation apps and videos available online, so there's no excuse not to give it a try. And remember, it's okay to take a break from studying altogether when you need it. Your mental health is just as important as your grades. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to step back, recharge, and come back to it when you're feeling refreshed. Chapter 5. Unlock your potential leveraging online resources for learning. Gone are the days when the library was your only source of information. Welcome to the digital age, my friend, where a wealth of knowledge is just a few clicks away. We're talking about online resources that can supercharge your learning, make studying more engaging, and help you ace those classes like never before. First up, we have the educational video revolution. Platforms like YouTube, Khan Academy, and Coursera are treasure troves of free educational content. Whether you're struggling with a specific concept in physics, want to brush up on your history knowledge, or even learn a new language, there's a video out there for you. Next, we have online study communities and forums. Websites like Reddit and Quora are filled with students from all over the world who are eager to share their knowledge, ask questions, and help each other succeed. It's like having a 24/7 study group at your fingertips. And let's not forget about the power of study apps. From flashcard apps like Anki and Quizlet to note-taking apps like Evernote and Notion. There's an app designed to streamline your study process and make learning more efficient. But with so many resources available, it's easy to get overwhelmed. The key is to be strategic. Identify your learning style and preferences. Do you learn best by watching videos, interacting with others, or using flashcards and quizzes? Once you know how you learn best, you can narrow down your options and find the resources that will be most helpful to you. Remember, the internet is a vast and constantly evolving landscape. Don't be afraid to experiment, explore, and discover new resources that can help you unlock your full learning potential. So, there you have it. My top tips to help you ace your classes and become a study ninja. Remember, it all starts with a solid study schedule, active learning techniques, mnemonics to boost your memory, stress management to avoid burnout, and the power of online resources. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these tips resonated with you the most? What are your go-to study strategies? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's create a study hacking community and help each other succeed. Remember, studying doesn't have to be a drag. With the right mindset, tools, and techniques, it can actually be an enjoyable and rewarding experience. And who knows, maybe one day you'll even find yourself looking forward to hitting the books. Or maybe that's just the caffeine talking. Either way, go out there and crush those classes.